A Good Day to Die Hard stars Bruce Willis, obviously as John McClane, Jai Courtney as his son, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Sebastian Koch, and Yulia Snigger. Yulia Snigger. Yulia Snigger. Snigger? This is, of course, the 5th film in the franchise, and much kind of slated when it came out, both critically and from an audience perspective. I don't think that many people went to see this in comparison to the previous films, but it's not hard to see why. But, however, before I get into berating this film, I will say, upon this watch, it wasn't quite as terrible as I remember it. Jai Courtney wasn't quite as terrible as I quite remember him, but he's still pretty bad. The main problem with this film is that John McClane quite simply isn't John McClane. There is nothing about this character that resembles who he was in previous films, beyond the fact that he gets into some action scrapes. But he doesn't care about anyone. You know, in the previous films, we saw him specifically give a toss about innocent people. You know, that's why he does what he does. You know, he may be a bit grumpy at times, but ultimately he's a decent enough human being. He cares about the people. That's why he became a cop. In this one, he pretty much trashes through a bunch of traffic in cars, not giving a damn who he's killing along the way, because that's just who he is. Apparently, he's just an action man. It doesn't matter what the collateral damage is. Now, other than the fact that John McClane isn't being John McClane in that scene itself is a damn good action scene. Now, this film is directed by John Moore, and he definitely knows how to handle action. There are some incredible action scenes throughout this film, and visuals as well. It's very visually stunning at points. So some nice use of some slow-mo stuff to really create a hyper-reality sensibility about it in places. But it's just those characters. The characters just are so run-of-the-mill, so kind of tick-the-boxes, action, generic characters that we've kind of seen 1,000 times before, that it kind of relegates what should be a kick-ass action film into the bargain bucket DVD section. You know, we've got Jai Courtney and Bruce Willis as father and son, and there is not an ounce of chemistry between them. And, you know, we have this trope as well, which we've seen 1,000 times before in films, where the son or the daughter or whatever refuses to call their dad, and instead they call him John, or, you know, whatever their name is, until the very end, when they go through some big thing, and then they finally say, Dad! And you're just like, oh. And when that happens at the end, I literally cringe. It just makes me feel dirty. The villains in this as well don't really make much of an impact. We get a father-daughter kind of tag team, and yeah, Yulia Snagger, or whatever the hell her name is, kind of reminds me of Lois Lane from Smallville. She looks just like the actress, I think, who played Lois Lane in Smallville. But yeah, doesn't make much of an impact in this film. Not necessarily her fault. Don't think she's a particularly bad actress, though I've not really seen her in anything else. But they're given nothing. They're generic villains. Again, we've seen them 1,000 times in other action movies. And coming off the back of Die Hard 4, in which we had, a kick-ass female in that, it just feels like they're trying to fill that gap that was kind of left open once she died in the 4th film. Cole Hauser is also in this film and gets to do nothing. I don't understand what's happened to his career. This is the guy who's in Pitch Black, and he's not a bad actor either. He's been in some pretty decent stuff. He's done some good roles. I don't get why they need him here to do as little as he does. Set aside also the fact that the makers of this film clearly don't know anything about geography and believe that you can make a 2-day car trip in 2 hours or however long it is. It's a bit of a mess, and it clearly doesn't care about its audience, about that die hard audience. It's just, How do we go from that first Die Hard film, an absolute classic of the genre, and have a sequel like Die Hard with a Vengeance, you know? So they clearly know how to do it again. You know, they know how to make something special again. To this, how do we go from that to this, you know? I don't know. There you go. Like I say, you know, if I wasn't measuring this as a Die Hard film, I'd be a bit easier on it, because the action beats in it do tick along quite nicely. And there is, as I say, some stunning visuals, some really adrenaline pumping action. I feel like I should care more about John McClane. When I think about how much I cared about him in the first film, the third film, and to some extent in the last one, in the fourth one, to not give a toss about him here, to not even like him as a character, yeah, you know, 2.5 out of 5. So there you go. There's my review of Die Hard 5, otherwise known as A Good Day to Die Hard. I think at this point, most people are wishing this franchise would die. You know, if they can pull something out of the bag, get back to its roots, if they do decide to do a next one, if they can make a decent action film, then you might have me on board, but I couldn't take another one like this. There you go. That's my review, but what did you think? If you've seen this film, please comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, thanks for watching.